私の生まれ育った黒津町。これからお話しするのは、この町で起こった奇妙な話の数々です。
Uzumaki is a Japanese horror film from 2000 that's an adaptation of the manga Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is a story about a town that gets cursed by spirals. Citizens of the town become obsessed with them to the point of getting themselves killed in gruesome ways, and causing panic throughout the area. Fans of the manga were not impressed by the adaptation, saying it was boring and didn't reach the same level of horror as the book. This could have been because of the completely different ending the movie had compared to the book, or maybe the whole weird vibe it has throughout. I mean, fair, even I had similar opinions on the first watch. I'm a huge fan of Ito and originally rated this 1.5 stars out of 5. But upon many rewatches and becoming fascinated with this film, I've realized just how genius it really is. Uzumaki is actually an exceptional movie. The cinematography, cheesy special effects, and directing choices make it more true to the aesthetic of the manga and effectively brings the outrageous story to life. Hiju Chinsky was the director of this film, and it was actually his directorial debut. While the story of Uzumaki was still being written, Hiju Chinsky asked screenwriter Kengo Kaji to turn the story into a full-length film. The film writers looked into movies like Akuma no Tamari Uta or The Devil's Ballad to inspire the feeling they wanted the audience to experience. The town in this mystery/thriller film is cold and frightening, explaining how the town of Kurozu-cho was presented in the same way. They planned the adaptation as similar as possible to the book. However, the main problem with this being the full book was not finished. They knew it would be risky, but it was a risk they were willing to take with the comic being so popular at the time. After filming only took about 2 weeks, Uzumaki was released on May 3rd, 2000. It was released in Japan and in the US, playing for a short time in San Francisco. The immediate reception was kind of People liked it, but felt like it didn't compare to the manga, especially with the alternate ending. In the book, they have this romantic finish where Shuchi and Kiri embrace in the spiral and accept their fate with this curse that has completely taken over the town. As the romantic type, I do like this choice. However, the movie's ending better fits with the story. Shuchi dies from the Uzumaki in Kiri's arms, and the film cuts to sequences of zoom-ins and outs of hand-painted pictures of the effects the spiral and it had to its victims. It finishes with an identical shot of Kiri's eye from the beginning of the movie.
私の生まれ育った黒津町。これからお話しするのは、
leaving what happened to her open to interpretation. This just fits so well with the ambiguous and confusing feeling this movie and the book has. The relationship between the two teenagers is rarely touched on, but it isn't quite significant to the story. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to end the story with them giving up against the villain for their love. The first thing you would notice about the visuals in this movie is its unusual greenish-blue color with a grainy filter that follows throughout the film. Hiju Chinsky called it a visual equivalent for the enroaching dread. This makes the movie look older and creates a sense that it's a story often told about the town like a folktale, told through many generations. It relates back to originally being a book, like they're telling this old story again. To adapt Ito's art style to film, the movie uses camera techniques such as fisheye lens,
渦巻きの芸術ですか?
zoom-ins,
うわっびっくりした
and harsh cuts to distort faces or landscapes. This adds a sort of eeriness or uncanny valley to the movie, making a viewer frightened by supposed familiar objects or people. The movie also has flashes of lights and colors that can be disorienting and also uncomforting for the viewer. In this next clip, Yamaguchi is asking Kiri out and the camera is moving all different ways, and they're using the fisheye lens.
山口くん。
びっくりした？
え？
びっくりしたみたいだね。
当たり前でしょ。
怒ったのかい？びっくりさせるのは僕の趣味なんだ。
ああ、そうですか。いいご趣味だこと。何よ。
小島くん、僕と付き合ってくれないか？
え？はいはい。びっくりさせていただきました。ごめんなさい。私本当に急いでるの。じゃあね。
All these elements combine add together to create a vibe that reflects the book without exactly copying it. Making a replica of the book into perhaps an animated movie wouldn't be as unsettling as the live action. Another way they make this film so scary and uncomforting is the special effects. They use fake gore, animation, and CGI to try to bring the images from the manga to life. Audiences thought that this was ultimately a failure, saying the effects didn't look realistic enough. Uzumaki was made in the year 2000, the same year as Requiem for a Dream, Final Destination, and American Psycho. So why did the effects look so cheesy? I think that they did this on purpose. If we look at pictures from the manga, would you say that the goal for artist Ito was to make everything look as real as possible, or make them as scary as possible? Hijichinsky wanted to reflect this in the adaptation. The exaggerated gore and outrageous imagery were necessary to the plot to add to the fear the production team wanted the audience to feel. For example, when the schoolboy jumps off the balcony and his head is split open, it doesn't necessarily look like real brains are spilled on the floor. I mean, I wouldn't know what real brains look like, but I don't think they look like that. They're not realistic, but isn't the scene so theatrical? With the spin zoom in on showing the spiral was the culprit for his death, it just fits with something that would be drawn by Ito. Same thing with the human snails on the building. The CGI or animation doesn't look the best, to be honest, but it's just so weird. Like, I don't know, it just adds to the absurdness of it all. You may be thinking, wow, this girl wants to be different so bad. We've been knowing this movie is the worst adaptation. Whatever. I can realize objectively that this may not be Perfect Blue or The Ring. The effects are not great, and the ending does not necessarily fit. But can't we just let a movie be silly? As I said before, the whole vibe of it is scary and confusing and uncomforting. Hijichinsky's goal was to keep it true to the manga, and I think he was very successful with this, even with his wild creative choices. Making the movie before the book was fully fleshed out led to some parts feeling just that, not really fully fleshed out. This made fans angry, but we should be grateful for what it is and look at it for all it did well rather than the alternate ending or crappy CGI. Even details as small as some scenes being painted pan-overs, or the unusual camera movements or the green coloring, they all make this movie a creepy, weird, and beautiful work of art.